Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about fog and banks and a question and whether or not things still work after all of this time. It's a question that has come up a few times. My guess is that it has something to do with Russia's new submarine. So we're going to answer the question. But once I answer it, stick with me because wait, there's more, and it's important context. It's definitely something that you need to keep in mind when you're using the answer to this question for anything. Okay, and that question is, do Russia's nukes still work? Maybe. Some of them undoubtedly do not. Okay, some of them will fail. Nuclear weapons have to be maintained. They have to be updated. They have to be, it's maintenance and modernization. And it's more difficult than you might imagine. There is a substance called fog bank. What is fog bank? Well, that's classified. Like, what's it exactly made of, its composition? Also classified. What does it do? Kind of also classified. But the world learned about it back in 2007-ish when the United States was going through its maintenance and modernization of its nuclear weapons because, well, they ran into a problem. They didn't really remember how to make it. A lot of the people who were involved in the creation of this material, they weren't around anymore. So it caused delays in modernizing and maintaining America's nuclear arsenal. I don't really have a good understanding of the internal mechanics of a nuke. Not something I ever really studied. But how this was explained to me is that fog bank is an interstage material, and it's where fission turns to fusion. Super important part, right? But they had real issues getting their hands on it. And this was in the U.S., a country that does maintain its equipment. So, did Russia really maintain all of this stuff after all of this time? Maybe. Probably not. Not to the same standards. If you were to use the gauge of the rest of Russia's equipment, yeah, probably half of it is going to have issues, not just with the warhead itself, but with everything else that goes along with it that was supposed to be maintained over the years. And even with maintenance comes its own issues. If you go to maintain something that was made 30 years ago, manufacturing processes are different. If you have to replace a part, odds are that part's not just going to be sitting around anymore. And when it is the newer production part is put in, well, I mean, everything from there kind of becomes theoretical. Is it really going to work? Don't know. And this applies to everything that is involved in strategic arms, from the guidance to the rockets to, I mean, everything, literally everything. These arsenals are aging. And Western countries have engaged in what they call life extension, just maintaining them, replacing parts that they can, stuff like that. We don't really know how well Russia has done this. So let's just assume half of them don't work. Here's the context that you have to keep in mind. The other half, that's totally enough. That's enough. Even assuming a massively degraded arsenal, it's enough. It's enough to maintain deterrence. So while, yeah, those people who are talking about this, and there's a lot of discussion about it, those people who are saying, yeah, this stuff probably doesn't work, understand it doesn't all have to work. A small fraction of it functioning as it was intended is enough to cause just untold amounts of devastation. So while technically correct, which is the best kind of correct, it's worth remembering that the concept of deterrence isn't altered by this, just because of the sheer number of weapons that are in the arsenals. So, yeah, some of it will probably fail. Some of it will probably fail. If the United States had issues getting material to engage in its life extension program and maintain this stuff, it's a safe bet that Russia did. And whether or not the money that might have been allocated to maintain this equipment actually went to that is a whole other question, because there's a lot of corruption. I mean, at this point, you're talking about rockets that probably have dry rot and hoses and stuff. So the people who are making this point are correct. There are probably a lot of Russian nukes that do not function. At the same time, they don't need them all to function. And that's the important part. This argument is being made in large part, not all, but most people that I've seen make this argument are those who think that somehow a nuclear exchange is winnable. It is not. It is not. It's all bad. It is all bad. Please go watch War Games. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.